I think about myself as a kid. God, I would have loved to have something like Able Youth when I was a kid. You know, and then to see these kids that have that from such a young age. And while our focus is on adaptive sports and adaptive recreation, ultimately the mission is for these athletes to gain that independence, gain that confidence so that they can go out and be successful adults. I'm Emily Hoskins, and I am the head coach for the Music City Thunder. So I started playing wheelchair basketball at the age of 13. I had been disabled my whole life, but we didn't know wheelchair sports existed when I was younger. My parents met an individual who was an adaptive skier on a ski trip, and then that person allegedly was to my parents was like, you know, well, what sports does your daughter do? And they're like, what do you mean sport? What sports does she do? And that's kind of how the door got opened. And I spent the first couple years trying out different sports. I did downhill snow skiing. I did basketball, tennis, track. You know, tried out a bunch of different things. But basketball was really where it was this is where I want to be. I played at the University of Illinois, where I played for 5 seasons. I also was on the U.S. Paralympic women's team from 2004 in Athens, where we won gold, and 2008 in Beijing, where we won gold. I also played in the women's division for the Phoenix Mercury and played with them for several seasons. I've also played in the men's division for the Nashville men's team here. I no longer play, but I now coach the Music City Thunder. Anybody that's never seen wheelchair basketball before, one of the biggest things I tell them is to remember that everything is the same as able-bodied basketball. It's a 10-foot hoop, same free throw line, same three-point line, same size court. Everything is the same. The one difference is we don't have double dribble, but everything else is the same. The wheelchair is considered a part of your body. You use that body, that chair, to set picks, to set screens, you know, to open up your teammates. Everything is still the same. And I often tell people, I don't think wheelchair basketball really settles in for somebody until they see it. Until they actually see it in person, they're like, oh. And I think, too, the competitiveness. I think a lot of times when disability sports are concerned, we think oh, it's good for them. They're out there trying their best, which to a certain extent, yes. But the competitiveness is really there. You know, it's not just, hey, let's go out and have fun and everybody's a winner. No, we're competing. We want to win this game. And so, you know, that same competitive edge is still out there. And I think, too, it's also a lot more physical. Seeing it in person, you're like, oh, wow, okay, this is awesome. So as a coach, I run my practices very much how I was taught the game. We always start with a warm-up, you know, we stretch as a team, then we go into our chair skills, which is where we really focus on that power, that strength of a push, that fast push, you know, really moving your chair, because that's such a key component of the game. Then we will do some work on some individual skills, ball handling, passing, you know, shooting, and then we kind of move up to more team skills and teaching concepts and things. And then we always scrimmage at the end, and I pretty much operate every practice kind of the same order. For me, I always work really hard to make sure that our kids understand that every drill we do, every skill we do, there's a reason we do it. I'm not just gonna have the kids out there, you know, running around wasting time. Everything we do is for a reason. And I do try to, as a coach, tie that back in. You know, you'll hear me in practice to say, okay, if you remember our chair skill we did earlier, or okay, if you remember this drill we did earlier, this is where you use that. You know, and really kind of helping the kids really try and pull everything together.
Remember, don't give up on that. Okay.
Favorite part of the game is that I get to socialize with other people that that have the same problems as me, being unable to play normal basketball, unable to go to events, where here we see nothing different than normal.
I do find a sense of comfort when I'm playing wheelchair basketball because it makes me feel like I'm more aggressive, and it also makes me feel like I can depend on my team to help me and I can help them.
What I enjoy most about basketball is having fun with friends, but still competing. I think I've got better over the years.
I, as a coach, work really hard to have a positive atmosphere. I've been on teams where it's not always that way, and that's not a great experience. We get along, we support each other, we encourage each other. You know, my kids know that I really emphasize sportsmanship, not only amongst themselves, but also with the other team, the other coaches, the referees. I've had parents from other teams compliment me, saying they love watching my kids play because they're having fun and they're supporting each other. Or I've had coaches and referees tell me that they love my positive attitude with my kids. I'm hard on them, but always in a positive mindset. You know, and so for me, that is one of the things that I am proudest of, is that other teams, other coaches, other players see my team and know that we all get along, we all support each other, they're encouraging, and that we go in with a positive attitude. We work hard, and win or lose, you know, my kids are still having fun. I grew up in a very small town where I was the only kid with a disability I knew. And, you know, so for a lot of kids with disabilities, being able to go into a space where there are other people like you is such a life-changing thing, you know, kind of knowing you're not alone. You're not the only one in a wheelchair. You're not the only one with a prosthetic. You're not the only one, you know, with whatever number of issues. And kind of kids being able to come into that space and just be a regular kid, you know? As a kid with a disability, as an adult with a disability, as an adult who coaches kids with disabilities, I literally cannot emphasize this enough, that wheelchair sports, basketball or otherwise, can change a kid's life. Like it absolutely did for me, you know, and as a coach, I hope that impact is the same for my kids and that I can be a part of that for them.
We want to hear about your Tennessee life. If you know of a person or story you would like to see featured on this program, please write to the address on the screen.